In this video, we're talking about celestial design, a style that has some mystical ancient roots, but it's fairly new to the design world in terms of being a defined style. And we're going to talk about 5 major traits that you can put into practice to make stellar celestial posters, merch, labels, or anything else. You've probably also seen this style used on things like journal covers, essential oil packaging, and definitely on tarot decks. And the tarot card style has also grown dramatically over the last several years, entering the merch and the print-on-demand industry. And the celestial designs we're talking about are going to be directly inspired by things like astrology, mythology, and spiritual symbolism. But in terms of the modern visual style we see today, it was arguably created or starting to be created in the 1990s in the US. And this is where it becomes extremely trendy thanks to pop culture. So we're going to see crescent moons, stars, and suns pop up everywhere, from fashion to TV shows like Sabrina the Teenage Witch or Practical Magic or Charmed. Now this ethereal, starry style is having another wave of popularity, but it's evolved and refined into more of a minimalistic monoline style than what we were seeing in the 90s, which was a little bit more playful. So you're going to imagine more thinner line work, clean geometry, and muted palettes instead of a more vibrant color or loud, bold illustration. So what actually makes design celestial? Like, what are the elements or decisions that one would need to take instead of saying something like, oh, that's just an image with stars, and instead saying, oh, I would 100% call that celestial? Well, let's break this down into those 5 major traits along with some examples you can see. And while you're thinking about this, you want to look at this as the building blocks for this style. First up, and maybe most importantly, is symbolism. Celestial design is icon driven, so you're going to think sunbursts, crescent moons, constellations, comets, planetary rings, and stars. These symbols are styled in a certain way, so most commonly the corners are going to be super sharp and the curves are going to be more exaggerated. For example, for an illustration of the moon, the crescent shape is going to be highly exaggerated and the corners are going to be narrow or super pointed. And the stars are usually not your traditional 5-pointed stars. They'll have 4 points like a sparkle, or more than 5 points. The same goes for sun symbols. They'll have multiple rays, maybe varying sizes, and they could be straight or they could be wavy. And the center of the sun could very likely be a wise or smirky looking face. You just kind of never know. Now this is a bit of a popular trend, pairing celestial icons with humanoid features. And while the style puts a focus on galaxy themed elements, a large portion of it also includes people or humanoid figures, like an angel or an ethereal looking woman or a hand reaching out to capture a star. These small touches give the design a surreal, magical quality. And if you go into Kittl and search celestial over in the left side panel, you're going to instantly see a ton of illustrations and graphics just like this. For the sake of graphic design, these symbols we're talking about serve as decoration, but they're pulling from mysticism and folklore that have meaning behind them. So if you're interested in adding some of these symbols to your work, make sure you keep the meaning of the symbols in mind when you're designing. And this is especially important if you're going to be designing something like tarot cards or something else where deeper meaning is necessary due to the function of that item or product. All right, next let's talk about layout. Celestial design often has radial symmetry or orbit style compositions like you can see in a lot of these images right here. Things revolve or are placed around a central element like a sun in the middle with stars and lines that are radiating out, and then text is placed outside of that to fill out the balance. There's an overall sense of rotation in a lot of these designs, kind of like a mandala or astrology chart. It's very intentional, and another common layout you'll see is where illustrations are layered, which you can see in a few of these images. By the way, if you like a specific image you see over on Pinterest, and whenever you're looking through inspiration, I highly recommend that you pop that over into Kittl so that you can use it as a reference image with designing. And you can easily do this by just right-clicking, copying that image, and then pasting it over in Kittl, and that way you don't have to go back and forth between tabs. You can even use our whiteboard or mood boarding templates to keep all of your references in one place. All right, number 3 is the color palette. Celestial design can kind of go one of 2 ways when it comes to color palettes: bright or dark. It's like dark academia or light academia, which we also have videos on, and I will link those below in the description. But overall, the colors mimic a real-life dreamy landscape or something super organic. If you search for celestial color palettes in Pinterest, you're going to see a lot of these follow a similar theme, pulling color from the galaxy, northern lights, stones, marbles, gems, or even insects. Basically, when you're looking at a photo of something really incredible with super surreal colors, kind of like you can't believe that this isn't from another planet or a universe like the northern lights, that's a great color reference to use for celestial style. And when you find one you like, you can take that photo, put it over in Kittl, and use our eyedropper tool to build your own palette. Now, when it's a darker palette, the composition is going to look more dramatic. So you're going to think of deep navy, charcoal black, plum purple, maybe magenta, and rich golds. You'll also see metallic textures used a lot, especially gold foil or shimmering gradients, which can give your design more of a magical stardust look and feel. And that contrast between light and dark is the key. It helps brighten the otherwise dark parts of the composition, basically mimicking the glow of moon or stars in a night sky. And for the soft celestial color direction, you're going to think more pastels and shiny glimmering blues, pinks, and lighter purples. Or you might think of matte versions of these colors along with a gentle gold line work. This lighter version gives the same mystic vibes, but a little bit more dreamy and soft, so it really just depends on the tone that you want to set with your design. Next, we have the typography, and now text isn't always included with celestial design, but when it is, there are generally two main styles you might see. One is an ornate serif font style with sharp contrast and delicate curves, and you're going to think of typefaces that feel ancient or magical, something you'd find embossed on a spell book. The other common style is a sans serif with wide tracking and centered alignment, and it mimics what you see on this celestial chart like this one. But these are just two of the most common font types you might see. If you take a look at many celestial designs, you'll definitely see a lot of different varying options within the category. Some could be described more modern and luxurious like an instrument serif, or they could have a lot of flourishes and ornamentation. And if you're looking for font options in Kittl, I found Artis, Estrella, and Asamala, and these are all modern, luxurious looking like I was talking about earlier. Now, I've also found quite a few designs with Gothic style fonts like Unifracture, Steel Plate Textura, and Utiche. The main takeaway here in either direction is that you want to get something that fits the celestial vibe. There's not really a one size fits all choice, and honestly, there isn't a super strict rule either. The best options tend to feel magical, vintage, and you most likely are going to know it when you see it. If you're designing in Kittl, you'll find tons of great choices like the ones I mentioned before, and you can make things a lot easier by going over to the type settings panel and typing in Gothic or Vintage, or even filtering it by serif type to find what you want faster. All right, finally with number 5, we're talking about texture and finish. While celestial designs can feel flat, they usually have some sort of overlay or subtle texture, as you can see with these designs here. It could be grain, fog, or mimic aged paper, and aside from the textures, you could add elements like ink specks or splotches that mimic watermarks and cloudy gradients. This will help it look less stale and more worn and more like a page from an old spell book or something like that. So while celestial isn't necessarily grungy by any means, it's not always glossy and super clean either. Like I mentioned before, celestial design has been in a lot of places lately, and since there has been a massive resurgence of astrology, the interest has grown. So you've probably seen entire brands built around this theme. So you're going to think of things like crystals or essential oils, tarot cards, candles, teas, other self-care home products, and things like that. It's really a complementary style for skincare, wellness, or lifestyle brands, but it's honestly also perfect for stationery, journal, apparel, and other types of print. So if you're in a print-on-demand business and you're considering trying out this style, or if it's something you're into, then give it a go. Or maybe you have a project coming up that would benefit from elements like you see in this style. And if you're ready to start experimenting, you can go to the templates in Kittl and search Celestial. You're going to find top-tier ready-made designs for you to customize so you don't have to start from scratch if you don't want to. We also have video tutorials similar to this style here on the channel that you might find interesting. Or you can just go to Kittl and search the feed to see what inspires or sparks your ideas. You can even find a bunch of tarot card designs in there, which are in themselves a really great reference for nailing this style. But before you go, I really want to know what you think about celestial design down in the comments, and if you found this video helpful. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe here so you don't miss any new style breakdowns just like you had in this video. Okay, now I need to go make a celestial design for a new emerging planet called Kittltopia. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.